Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. It's great to be with you. I am going to be colouring in Dromenvanger by Tomislav Tomic using mixed media. So I'm going to use Prismacolor pencils, Inktense pencils, and we'll see how we go. And the page that I'm going to be colouring is a page that I actually think will be a lot of work, but when we finish it, it's going to look so cool. So we're going to do this double page spread over here. I'll just zoom out a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so this is a double page spread. We've got the griffin type lion, we've got the queen here, we've got some sort of foxy creature. So we've got a lot going on. I'm going to use two autumn inspired palettes. So hopefully I can show you on my other phone. So what happened was I sat with my eldest, and he monitors because he likes to sometimes my YouTube channel. And he said to me, "Oh yeah, Mom, I guess your subscribers all asked for fantasy autumn themed pictures." So I was like, yeah, that's true. So when you think of fantasy, what comes to mind? So we kind of looked through and we found this page, and we thought, actually, this is a really lovely page to start with. And then I showed him on Pinterest some autumnal color palettes. So he picked two autumnal palettes, which I actually think he is spot on as far as how well they are going to work. So I'm just going to try and quickly bring them up on another phone to show you. And I'm starting to toy with the idea of actually getting the color cubes. When they came out, I wasn't really sure if that was a good idea to, if it was going to benefit me. But the more I'm working and doing videos, the more I'm like, actually, I should probably look into getting the color cubes, because with something like this, I can pull out the palettes and I can actually show you. And it's not all on my screens. So bear with me one sec. Hi Noelle, hi Kenny, how are you? Hope you're both well. Alright, so, no, I don't want to open the app, go away. What we're going for, if I bring it here. So he wants this color palette here, which has got the beautiful blues and browns. And then for the leaves, he wants this bottom palette down here with the greens and the reds. And I actually think that the two palettes together are going to work really well. So we're going to kind of go with those. I am getting there. I've been fighting either flu or a head cold now for almost a week, and my energy levels have been quite low and my coping capacity quite low, but I know, it will bounce back. It just takes time, and for whatever reason it's just a bit slow at the moment. I don't actually think I recovered fully from the previous head cold that I got in September. And September through to December is a really busy time for us as a family, with birthdays, and it's our anniversary in November, and then not to mention Christmas, so it just gets really busy. So yeah, I get a little bit run down, I suppose, but it's all positive, all good, all very upbeat and nothing to worry about. Okay, so if I bring this into here, trying to color match some of these colors, especially the leaves and the sky here. So those are the two color palettes. I think the sky I'm going to do in pencil. So I'm looking at some of these leaves and thinking, okay, how are we going to do this? So maybe I'll do some leaves with the yellow into red kind of going. So I'm going to transition some of the leaves and they'll not all be the same. So I think that will work quite well, but I need to get out my colors. So I have my color book, got my Inktense right here. And I think, considering the amount of leaves, I am going to do the leaves in Inktense. I am going to do the lion in Prismacolors. And the sky for here I'll do with Prismas. I think the sky and all of it I'm going to do in Prismas. And I'm going to do this blue kind of color. And then kind of bleed it through into like a... Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe I'll actually add in some clouds. We'll see. It's quite a busy page, so it might actually work better just to keep it really simple. All right, I'm talking out loud because I am processing, so please bear with me. I do that when I am processing. I talk out loud. Right, I need a tangerine. Do I need a tangerine? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to get out a tangerine. Oh, thank you, Kenny. I'm sure I will feel better soon. I don't like colds either. They can be very annoying. All right. All right, let's go into a chili red. So if my voice gets funny, it's probably just because of the cold that I have. All right, I need a fern. There it is. Exactly. I think if I throw in clouds, it's just going to be far too much. Maybe a simple sky or gradient will work better. Okay, I need a darker green, so let's go with possibly a beach green. Okay, so, and then I need, it's so tricky to get that color. So I'm thinking actually maybe a Sicilian yellow. All right, so that will be my color combos for the leaves. And we can kind of manipulate that around. And then I need the browns for the trees. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and pull out the overall colors for the Inktense and then the Prismas, and then I'll keep those in a jar separate, and then I can add in and throw out as we go. Okay, so I need, those two yellows are almost the same color, so I might just leave those. Then need a brown, so it looks like a willow brown. Today has been one of those days where it's a typical Monday and I haven't decided whether I'm coming or going. Yeah. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go with a burnt umber. And then I think the blue and the light color I'm going to leave with Prismas, because I think that will just be slightly easier. So if I swap over now, find my Prismas. So yes, this page is probably going to take me at least 2 live streams to get through, maybe more. I'll try and do as much of it on camera and off camera as I can, but I'm definitely thinking I'll do the lion on camera. I'll do some of the leaves, you can do the background, the flowers. Maybe today we focus on the lion, and then next week we can maybe focus on the other side with the queen and the animals. Alright, so I need a seashell pink. I am going to add to these colors because I think that will probably be required. But I'll get the bulk of them out. So we need a seashell pink. And then that blue looks more like a slate grey. Oh no, actually it's muted turquoise, so that's handy. And then I am going to bring out a color to kind of transition from the muted turquoise and sort of lighten it. So possibly a cloud blue. It's so tricky. No. Yeah, let's try a cloud blue. If nothing else, I'll just use a white. So I'll have a white pencil. Okay, let's see how this goes. Right, I'm going to keep my color palette kind of with me on one side. I'm going to zoom you in and let's see how this works. Oh, excuse me. So I'm going to try not faff too much with the leaves. I feel like the focal point of this particular page is the lion. So we need to really make sure that the line stands out. So I'm going to probably work more with Inktense pencil for the background colors. I possibly will use gel pens for the frame. I think that could work quite well. We can always add pencil on top. Okay, so my browns I'm going to put to one side, and my sky. Okay, let's have a play. Okay, so here I'm starting with the wrong color. I'm supposed to start with a dark color. Okay, so that one is going to just be different. Right, remember, vary your colors. Vary. Make them different. Not all of these leaves have to be the same, so I'm just gonna be random. I'm just going to randomly place this. Just another manic Monday. Don't I wish? It totally, yeah. Alright, I'm just going to zoom you a bit closer so you can see more. Yeah, I've decided I don't like Mondays. But it's okay. You know, as soon as we get into the week, it will come up. I mean, to be fair to the boys, we've just come back from a week's holiday for 2 of the boys and 2 weeks holiday for the other child. So, you know, like bearing all of that in mind. Hi, Carly, how are you? You see, just another manic Monday. All right, so I think the yellow is going to have to be my highlight. It's a very detailed page. Yes, I think I am slightly crazy. But you know what? Maybe this is the double page spread that actually gets me to complete a double page spread. I have not completed a double page spread in this book yet, and I think that that is a crying shame. Problem is I get close, I start, and then I don't know, something happens and I don't get back to the page. I then start choosing all other pages. So I think that this is worth persevering. Oh, your hand got tired. I'm sorry. What double page spread, which book are you doing a double page spread in? Oh, cool. City Among the Stars. That's really cool. I need to do another Hannah Carlson page and then post it as support. Shame. My heart really goes out to her. I've heard that every art piece has a yuck stage, and the key is to persevere through it, because eventually it turns from a yuck stage to a I can do this stage, to a this is really working, I like this. So maybe it's worth persevering even if it's not going the way you planned. Oh, you're doing a rhino page. That's going to be cool. Oh, cool. Wild Summer. That's cool. It does happen, I promise you. You can start a page and already go, what am I thinking? I'm kind of already feeling that, and I'm this far in. I'm like, I'm not sure about this. Are these colors going to actually work? Have I completely lost the plot here? What's going on? What was I thinking? Maybe I should be doing this in pencils and not Inktense. You know, can you hear the doubts creeping in? Oh, well done for doing the bingo. Oh, I love that idea. I love so many ideas. It's like I found out that not only do you have Inktober in October, you also get Peachtober, which is another version. So it's all prompt based and you can use any media you want. And yeah, so basically Inktober, but not in ink. And then we've got Shannon's gorgeous bingo ideas, and I'm like, oh, I want to do them all. I love these. But reality is, yeah, I haven't even started getting my head around all of that. Right, I'm already starting to think about these branches, like, you know, do I use gel pens or do I think it's probably better I use pencil. Right, I'm going to make this one maybe green, contrast with the red, so I'll do these ones green, but like with yellow. Oh, hang on, there we go. And then down here maybe a bit of orange. Okay, so now I'm going to put those aside and I'm going to have a go with the branches. I'm going to make them a bit more red. Not red, sorry, brown. Oh my gosh. Alright, so I'm alternating between willow and burnt umber, but I'm going to leave a bit of white so I can kind of blend it out. I must go and actually print the gorgeous bingo page. I did go and have a look at it and then I just haven't printed it, so I must print it and then see what I can find. Now, how many bingos do you need to do? Do you need to, is it one coloring page per item, or is it you need to go across or diagonal or up and down, and those three elements need to be in one coloring page? Hi Anna, how are you? Oh, okay, 5 pages to get bingo. Yeah, I'm not going to get bingo. I mean, let's just call a spade and let's just be honest. I'm not going to get bingo. I can barely get 3 or 4 pages done at the moment in a month, let alone 5. Oh, until the end of the year to finish. Okay, then there is hope for me, Kenny. If there's until the end of the year, there is hope. I'll be behind, but you know, like, the tortoise did win the hare, not the oh, you can see I do this all the time. The tortoise won the race, not the hare. I know, the race. I do it all the time. I get my words muddled up. I'm like, yeah. Yes, if I didn't pick a page like this one, I could probably get it done. Yeah. I think the only way for me to actually get this page complete is to, you know, just do a live stream and amuse you all with my word mishaps or my funny stories or my absolute silence, depending on the week. You know, when you have a hobby that you really love a lot, is when you have secondary hobby. And so for me it was like crochet, and I'm not a big crocheter, and I don't mind it. It's better than knitting, but I was looking at, can I buy myself some like chenille wool and knit a blanket. So I find a blanket pattern, all the free online, everything. So I'm like, yeah, this is good, just what I need. And I go hunting online for this fancy, super soft wool that's apparently amazing. And I balk at the price because I'm like, oh my gosh, I could spend anywhere from like 50 to 80 pounds on wool or yarn. And I'm like instantly thinking to myself, but I could buy fresh new oil pastels. I could buy like 3 more coloring books, maybe 4 more coloring books. I could buy some stickers and a notebook and start a new notebook for my journaling. And there are so many other things I would rather spend my money on than fancy wool. So I'm like, yeah, I am clearly not the sewing kind of crafty person. Like, it's fun and all, but if I'm going to spend that much money, I'd rather spend it on color cues or coloring stuff. Oh, okay, so the extra challenge is to complete the board by the end of the year. Yeah, I'm not going to get one bingo for the month of October. I mean, just realistically speaking, I'm not going to go visit Denial now. Yeah, you know, I'm just going to stay practical and honest. The heart is willing, but reality is not. Oh wow, you gave away all your cross-stitch stuff. Well, if you're not going to do it, there's no point holding on to it really, unless it's sentimental. Oh, I got bored with embroidering. So my mom and my gran are both crafters, like the sewing side of things. So my mom got my gran into quilting. My mom and my gran did cross-stitch embroidery. They both did ribbon embroidery. Then my gran got went into jewelry making. She did porcelain dolls, wedding dresses. She could sketch. She even hand painted some of her porcelain dolls. Then she went into Jacobean embroidery. I think there was some other types of embroidery that she got into. Trying to think, what else did she do? There was loads of stuff that she did. And my mom, of course, knitting and cross stitch and crochet. My mom has done knitting, she crochets, she does cross stitch, she does quilting, so that's something she and my grand got into. So they're really big on the sewing side of things. I didn't inherit a love for sewing. I can sew, I can use a sewing machine, I can do embroidery if I really wanted to. I can cross stitch. I've even tried tapestry. But yeah. Oh, cool. 2 of your granddaughters are crochet manics. That's cool. I do crochet when I take the boys swimming. So while I'm waiting for their swimming lessons to be over, I've got something. But if I'm really honest, I would probably want to read a book instead. The only benefit of crocheting is I can have a few minutes where my brain is not hearing any noise. Depending on the day I've had, sometimes that noise can just be a bit too stimulating in my head. So coloring really works well because I can actually shut it off. But then I find taking coloring to swimming pool lessons a bit cumbersome. So I opt for crocheting because at least I can quiet my mind and still do something. You color and collect art supplies. That's cool. Oh, audiobooks are cool. Bonjour, Francine. How are you? I'm glad you are well, Francine. I'm really sorry. I'm not good with French. I always love listening to French. I find it really challenging to read, but I love the accent and the musical sounds to the French language. It's just such a beautiful language. My mother-in-law, she can speak Creole. All right, I think I'm gonna try and activate this and see. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it works out okay. Well, we'll figure it out. I don't speak French, you don't speak English, we'll figure it out. All right, so the book is Dromenvanger, and we are doing this page. Okay, so now I need a thin paintbrush, really thin one. So I've run out of paper towels, so I brought one of my dishcloths, so you'll have to pardon my dishcloth. And then I've got water, and I'm going to try and activate this. It is a pleasure. Now, I don't like doing too much with my Inktense and then not activating it, because I really don't want to muddy my colors. And I find if I do too much, then I can increase the risk of muddying my colors. But I did find, if you are interested, if I use my Inktense pencils in a notebook, and let's say it's got more of a watercolor or mixed media paper, when I activate, I can activate the Inktense, but if I take a spray or like a spritz bottle and I spray the paper, the Inktense actually bleeds through, not bleeds through, it creates like a watercolor sort of effect. It's really cool. I took the boys on a fossil hunting kind of group, and a friend of ours came with, and while the boys were hanging out on the rocks together, I was trying to sketch with Inktense pencils a piece of seaweed, and I was like, okay, how do I activate the Inktense quickly? So what I did was I took my spray bottle, not knowing what I was about to find, and I just sprayed the paper, and immediately the Inktense around it activated and just started running through in this really cool sort of pattern. And I thought it was really funky because I was drawing seaweed. It matched sort of, the effect kind of matched seaweed in a way, gave it like a really nice effect. So when I eventually do my October and September finished pages, I'll show you that painting. I mean, it's not going to look really fancy. It's very difficult to sketch seaweed. And the funny thing is, as some of the seaweed dries, the colors change. They actually darken. Inktense activated is always so much prettier. So I think after I've done some of this, I'm going to... thanks, Kenny. Bye, Francine. Thanks for stopping by. I'm afraid my French goes as far as bonjour and merci. Right, so this is gonna look very autumnal. Alright, so I'm gonna not do all the leaves, but what I will do is some here, and then I think I'm going to move on to the lion. afraid I don't have much colouring news other than what has happened with Hannah Carlson, and just wanting to surround her and send her lots of well wishes. I am waiting for my copy of Emily Lederhall-Aberg's Folklore and Fairy Tales, but I'm not in a big rush for it. I've got it on pre-order and it will come when it comes.
Are you using it?
I was, but it's fine. It's not a big deal. I've got my colours.
Cool.
I can use it.
I want to fix your axis spine.
Oh, okay. Sorry, hubby just needed to grab one of the devices. I can tell you, I have found that oil pastels on this paper really doesn't work. Either that or my oil pastels are just rubbish. So, has anyone else used oil pastels successfully in a Dromenvanger book? I am very curious to hear your thoughts, because if I need to get new oil pastels, then I'm happy to give it a shot. Oh, I'm glad you like the colours. Oh, okay, so you think the ones you bought previously were rubbish? Well, it's possible. I don't know. You know, the ones I've got are old Pentel oil pastels. And my youngest son, when he was much younger, I think he was like 4, decided that he wanted them to be naked, so he stripped off the paper that protected them, and he came to me very proudly and said, "Mommy, look, the crayons are naked now." So my oil pastels sit in a Tupperware, just a random ice cream Tupperware, rubbing up against each other, getting all dirty and half broken and whatnot. So I am quite possibly leaning towards the fact that they are pretty much rubbish, and that any negative experience I have with oil pastels is the pastel's fault and not the paper. I think when you bring the blue in, it actually helps these colors pop. So there we have it. Getting a feel now for what this is going to look like. Right, we do have a vine kind of growing here on the tree, so I need to kind of consider that. Because I might need to make the vine kind of more like a green or maybe a red or even yellow. I'm not sure, just something to kind of stand out from the rest of the tree. I think this double page spread could probably take the better of 2 weeks to finish. Alright, so that's sort of the idea behind that. We could use a blending pencil to just smoothen it out, but there you go. Just blend that out a bit better with the peach. Alright, so let's have a think about this gorgeous lion. Because I can color the rest of the leaves and that on their own. And I don't have to necessarily do that on camera, so let's just zoom you out a wee bit. Okay, so I'm going to take a bit of creative license now, and I'm going to stick with the themes, but I need a bit more brown, so I'm going to keep him, I think, like golden brown. Yeah, hang on. I think he's going to need greens inside here. So this, I think this bit is almost like a picture inside of a picture, if you see where I'm going. So we're going to need like green grass over here. Maybe. Hi Fernanda, how are you? Okay. We could do yellow, white. Oh, we could do blue. No, wait, hang on. I've got blue coming all the way down. And then I've got the ground sort of along here. So I need to consider that. So I need to plan my background. So we could do like a sunset thing in here. If this is a picture inside of a picture, that's the first question. Or it's just got a frame. It could just be a frame. Then it's not. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm failing. This is above my pay grade. Okay, I want to do him like golden yellowy colors. So we'll do his body. I'm thinking this palette here, and maybe we can do that for like his mane, and then we need to weave that into his wings, so his wings are not unnatural. The last couple of times I did an animal with wings attached to it, I did like some random color that didn't connect with the rest of the animal, so I don't want to do that. So I think what I'm going to do is a very light kind of wing. Yeah, so maybe this sort of thing on the wings, this for the body, and then we could go these sort of colors for his mane, and that should hopefully do okay. So I'm probably going to do those three. I could pull in some of here, so we'll see how we go. Okay, so body. Let's get the pencils. So I went through all my pencils on the weekend, and all my Prismacolor pencils, and I updated them. I even re-tagged them so I could actually find my pencils. All right, so I need mineral orange, I need goldenrod, I need yellow ochre, I gave them new labels, fresh pencils, some of them, not all of them. I need sand, jasmine, and cream. And we're going to just do his body, and we're going to see how it goes. Don't overthink it. I know, that's my problem. I get into my head and I start trying to figure out the whole thing, and then I panic, and then yes, so we'll just dissect it one piece at a time. All right, I like to put in my shadows, so I'm going to do that. This illustration is beautiful. It's very, very detailed and very overwhelming, but we will persevere and we will get through and it will look amazing. The paper is being damaged a bit. Oh well, never mind. All right, so I'm going to try and just do light layers for now. The thing I'm learning with hair and furs, you don't want to go too quickly into hard pressure. You want to keep your pressure light, and then as you build up the layers, you go darker. And do light and slow. And we'll just pretend that I know what I'm doing. Alright, so this actually needs to be a bit thicker here. I really take my hat off to people who can color and talk at the same time. I get like stuck. I go into my zone and then I'm sort of like, gotta keep talking. I don't even know what you would call this creature. I mean, it's a lion with wings. Is he a griffin? No, he can't be a griffin. He's not a sphinx. nice thing is if you go light layers, you can always layer over them and soften it up. Ah, thank you, Kali. We will make him majestic and regal. I think because his fur is short fur, I'm not going to overly fuss about like fur texture. I think I'm just going to work more on like basics of shading. Oh, okay, so it can be a griffin. I didn't realize it could be a griffin with as a lion. Or the Lion of St. Mark in Venice. Ooh, I'll go research that one. That sounds cool. So we're getting there. I think that needs to be the same color as his mane. Yeah, probably. All right, we'll leave that. We could actually create some blue and white flowers. I mean, that could be really pretty. So if we do blue and white flowers along here, and then we could do like red flowers here, green in the background, so that there's that contrast, and yeah, that's as far as it goes. But that could work. Okay, I like this. So I give myself less than 5 minutes before I drop my pencils and I go and start coloring blue flowers. I promise you I color like this in everyday life. It's not just on camera. You would actually, I would think on camera I would probably color a little bit less squirrel-like, but no, this is how I roll. This is what I end up doing. Because even though I'm not, even though I'm not thinking while I'm coloring, and if I'm going into my mindless state, my brain is working in the background and is processing the picture. And then what ends up happening, I get an idea and then I decide I'll just change gear, and I just do that. I just go off on a tangent. It will be relevant to the picture I'm coloring mostly, and yeah, that's how it works. Because basically what happens is I get these ideas, then I really want to see and test my ideas because I want to make sure that it's going to be feasible and work out. And then when it starts working out, I get excited. So then I carry on. And before I know it, I've got an idea for something else on the page. And my brain might interrupt me and off I go again. And I'll carry on like that until I've covered all the elements on the page, at least one aspect. And then eventually I end up finishing the page, or I don't end up finish the page and I end up with a whip, which I actually thought I should probably do another video showing you how many whips I've got and whether I've gotten worse. Because I'm pretty confident I haven't gotten better and made less whips. I'm pretty confident I have made more whips. So my money is on, I've probably got close to 90 whips now instead of 78 since last year. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about that part, really. That's just how it goes. Okay, I need to try out these blue flowers. I really need to try this out. So I was going to do red flowers in here, blue flowers out here. Okay. So if we do it like this. And then the inside is like dark blue. Let's see. I need to sharpen my pencils. I mean, worst case scenario, I just bring in a slightly brighter blue. Hopefully not too bright. And then if I use a white pencil, I can blend it and make it all milky. And hopefully this will work. So if we do it like that, I think it could work. Could even maybe do like a slightly yellowish center. Yeah, this is just normal coloring style. Get an idea, test it out, like it, move on. And then we'll take a white Posca pen at the end and we'll go over the petals with white Posca. And I think that will make it look really pretty. I think this is going to look really nice. Cheers, Cully. Have a good week. Thanks for hanging out. Okay, so I've made bluish flowers. Right, back to my lion. I'm going to bring in some of that jasmine. I went a bit too light too quickly. Alright, so I went goldenrod up here. Oh, thank you. I think the line is going to look lovely. I quite like the idea of him being a bit more golden. Makes him more like, I suppose, mythological, mystical. So maybe this is a lion that I don't know, it's got a connection with the sun. Like if I go on mythological kind of tangent, yeah, you could, I don't know if there are griffins in Greek mythology. There might be, actually. I think griffins are from Greek mythology. I know they are very much fantasy creatures. And I always associate the Sphinx with Egypt. Ah, cool. Greek and Roman. Now, wasn't it the Romans who decided that the Greeks were onto something and they really liked Greek, a lot of what the Greeks did? I think I watched a documentary where I learned that the Romans actually took the Greeks' idea for making statues to show off their power and I suppose masculinity. So if I got my story straight, the Greeks had their mythology, the Romans came by, conquered the Greeks, and took the Greek mythology and just basically put Roman names to all the Greek gods and goddesses. Because when I read the some of the Roman mythology and the Greek mythology, they really are pretty much one and the same, just with different names. That's as far as my understanding goes. I hold it lightly because I'm open to being told I'm incorrect and being further educated. Okay, I need to just put in some of these shadows here on this foot because I didn't get there. Okay, so they envied the Greek art and we did rename a lot of the Roman gods. The Greek gods, yeah. I've actually got on my to-do list of books to read Stephen Fry's version of mythology books. I've heard he's really good author, and I just find the mythology, like the Greek and the Roman mythology, very interesting. I also like folklores, and I think it gives you a real insight into how stories in different cultures kind of came about and the influence they have in the stories. You just need sharper pencils. Okay, so they wanted to assert their social status and sophistication. I love the ancient civilizations. I think that there is so much fascinating things about them. And I also really find it fascinating how, in certain aspects, they were, I suppose, more advanced in their understandings of things than, I suppose, the modern world is. I mean, we're advanced in different ways. I'm not at all downplaying modern society, but I just find it very fascinating looking at ancient civilizations and how much they had going for them. I mean, the fact that the Romans could create the aqueducts and provide, you know, kind of running water, and then you've got the Egyptians and their understanding of mummification and preserving and all of that. So I find it fascinating. I mean, obviously there are other things that they didn't know about that we know about now. Oh, cool, Diana. You like Egyptian history. That's so cool. Oh, yes. The Sumerians supposedly did start it all, yeah. I mean, they were the first civilization who had a written language. And I think they were the ones who invented the wheel, which is pretty darn clever, actually. And if I remember rightly, a group of people only became a civilization when they had a written language. If they didn't have a written language, they weren't considered a civilization as yet. I think my favorite ancient civilizations would probably be the Romans, the Egyptians, and the Greeks, especially the Greeks. I do enjoy them. I also do enjoy the Romans. I think what I love with the Romans is I suppose the way they set their mind onto something and then they went and did it. So they decided that they wanted to conquer, and they went and they conquered and they expanded. But I also, in some ways, do like the Mongols, mainly like Genghis Khan. I'm not saying what he did was right, but what I really liked about him when my middle son was studying Genghis Khan, I went and I bought a couple of books to kind of understand the historical context behind his upbringing, and we learned a lot about his backstory and life, which really does create a very interesting person. But what was interesting about the way Genghis Khan went about his empire is that he took the people who had skills the rest of his clans or groups didn't have, and I don't know if he employed them or exactly how he did, but he had them work and add to his growing empire and society, and that's how he improved them. But then later on in history, when we go like closer to the Crusades, and I was looking into the Crusades more from the Arabic side than just the Western side, because this was in my mid-30s, because I'm now in my late 30s. So up until then, I'd always known more like the Holy Wars and the Crusades from the Western side of things. And I wanted to understand the Arabic side. And I asked around, and I got pointed to some YouTube videos that were actually a documentary series released by, I suppose, like the History Channel version in the Middle East. And so we watched that, and they had some British professors and all of that also speak. And I realized then that a lot of science and medicine came to the western side of Europe from the Holy Crusades. As people came and they tried to conquer the Middle East, they then were exposed to the Moor, I suppose it was the Moors, the Arabs, and their understanding and their way of doing things, and it, with certain health benefits and certain understandings of medicinal things, and then they brought that with them when they returned to Western Europe. And I just find all of that really fascinating. But there are a lot of things about history that are actually also sad. So yeah, I really like that sort of thing. But then this is the same person who is currently reading all the books her 13-year-old is reading for school, because they're all interesting and I haven't read them. So yeah, I've got my nose stuck in books like A Man for All Seasons, which I never read, and is a play, a biography written as a play on Sir Thomas More. And I just think it's so brilliantly done, and it's so easy to read, so I'm really enjoying that. At the midst of reading Fierce Wars and Loves by Edward Spencer, and other books. So I am just got my nose in probably about 5 to 8 different books all at the same time. Oh, medieval history is fabulous. I like pretty much history from the ancient civilizations all the way to about the Victorian era. I found when we get to the World Wars and then you go into the Cold Wars, it gets almost a bit more political, and my brain is just not wired for politics. So yeah, I tend to kind of lose interest in that. Yeah, so I also really love the I don't love the way the Americas were colonized, in the sense the way people were treated. You can tell I homeschool. Yeah, well, I was homeschooled and I homeschool, so yeah. It just is what it is. I think it's fun. You get exposed to all these really cool books, and you get to learn. Like, I think the thing I love the most about homeschooling is how watching your child or your grandchildren discover that learning is fun, and learning is a lifelong journey, and it doesn't have to stop when you're 18 or 20. You can carry on, and I really love that, because I think that that is such a valuable skill. And in some ways, that's how I learned to color. It was because I knew how to self-teach. Yeah, you do get to spend a lot more time on things you enjoy. Although, to be fair, in school, I actually loved school. So even though my parents, they homeschooled me kind of more of a box curriculum, it was a box curriculum, I really did love school. I mean, I worked hard. I wanted to do well. I wanted to be like, if I lived in America and went to school, I would have been the girl who would have strived for like the perfect 3.0 or whatever standard you'd get. I would be aiming to be an A student and get into top universities. Like, that would have been my ambition. Whether I would have done that, I don't know, but yeah, that would have been my goal in life as a teenager. I didn't get to study art though, or do music or anything like that. I had to teach myself how to find people who could teach me how to play the guitar, or I'd have to then take whatever bits they could teach me and practice on my own, and then teach myself from there. All the bits that I learned about drawing, I taught myself. So it definitely is a skill. But it's fun. It is so much fun to learn. So what were some of the fun things you and your granddaughter enjoyed doing? I had a giggle, so I'm reading geography to my middle boy, and my youngest boy is in the room, and he's listening to how they in the mid, what was it, 1930s or so, there's a dam, I forget what it's called, by the Colorado River. Anyway, I'm sure if I tell you all the places around it, you will probably know which dam I'm talking about. So if I've got my story correct, they then went, so they created this dam, but in the process of creating this dam, they had to go to a place, I think it was called Black Canyon, and they had to stop Hoover Dam, I think so. I'd have to get the book out, but it was by the Black Canyon, and then they had to stop the Colorado River and use pipes to divert the water so that they could build the dam walls, and then their blockade they could remove. So my son's like, okay, we could use, you know, cardboard and build a dam. I said, okay, that's fine. You can use toilet rolls, because I'm forever collecting toilet rolls. You could use that for the piping. Next thing I know, my youngest son is quickly in the cupboards and he's grabbing boxes and trying to work out how he can makeshift a dam and try and rebuild this. And we haven't even finished reading about this dam. So we're only on like day 1 of the reading. It's just hilarious because the way these kids, they just get inspired and they want to try out things and learn and experiment. And he says to me, Mommy, if it's anything crafty, you know, I'm there when it's anything crafty or experiments, Mommy, I'm gonna be there. So, you know, I'm like, yeah, you go for it, buddy, you knock yourself out, just as long as it's in your spare time, because I've got limited time. Oh, she liked history and art projects. Oh, cool. Civil War and Revolutionary War reenactments. That's awesome. Yeah, it was really cool. So in the end, though, my middle son goes and he uses the tap outside to, I think he had ended up with a box. I did film it. So he has some sort of box, I think as his makeshift blockade. The tap outside is the river, uses a kitchen roll, toilet paper, you know, kitchen roll. It was either that or the roll from like the aluminium foil. And so he's like, Mom, here's the dam section, here's the river, here's the pipe. And he diverts the stream of water coming out of the tap with the roll out away from his cardboard dam. That's so funny. But, you know, I thought it was very smart because it was effective and it showed the idea behind what they were doing. I'm pretty sure, though, I've seen a documentary on that particular dam. All right, so we have a very shiny lion. Yeah, my best are field trips. I love field trips. And walks in nature are also quite fun. Especially in the spring and the summer. Right, so I'm almost done part of the lion. I don't think I'm going to get the lion done today. I'll just get, you know, his body. I suppose if you really wanted to, you could do fur on here, but you would probably have to keep your fur texture really, really smooth and very short strokes. I find with short-haired animals, I haven't perfected the technique of very fine hair strokes. In some ways, I actually find it almost easier to do long furred or medium fur or hair than very short hair. Oh, that's so cool. A yearly trip called Penny Pickle's Magical Emporium, where they could learn science experiments and experience of them. That's so cool. I'm just trying to deepen up the shadow areas here, so get a bit more accent on these things here. I'm not really sure if that's supposed to be like his ribs or if it's supposed to showcase his muscles. I don't know, maybe I'm over accentuating it. I'm not sure right now. I think it looks more accented on camera. Like, I'm not sure about this. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you think the line is looking okay. I think this color for the line works really well. Oh, okay. I see where you're going. It's like when you do skin before hair. That is very true. Right. Well, I don't think it's too bad. Really don't. I think he's definitely got something going here for him. It'll be a very dashing lion. Oh, thank you, Kenny. I watched a color along, well, I suppose it was more like a tutorial by Lenka Fee, and she was showing how to color smoke and fire. So it's just a very like 18-minute video and it's to music. But what I found really encouraging watching her, and you know, she's an artist, was just seeing how she interpreted her own drawing and how she colored certain places was similar to how I understood those same things to be colored. So for instance, you know, you do dark here and dark here. And I actually found that really encouraging, because even though I don't have the picture she was coloring, watching her color, just watching her color and seeing her process was like, oh, okay, so the way I've understood things and how to color and, you know, my approach to highlights and shadows, it's on the right track. You know, there's always room for improvement and growth, but at least we're heading in the right direction. So it's always encouraging. Alright, I think I'm going to give him black toenails. I think it would look quite appropriate if he has black toenails. But I'm not going to use black, I'm going to use brown. And I'll use Inktense for that. So with like just a paintbrush. We'll give him a manicure. Alright, there we go. Not so white. Okay, I'm going to stop there because if I don't stop, I'm never going to stop. And I will see what I can do off camera as far as leaves, background, you know, the background colors. But I will make sure that anything that's not backgroundish and repetitive, I'll do that on camera. So I will see what I can do, and I will see you guys next week Monday, and I'll carry on with this page, and hopefully we'll slowly progress to the rest of the double-sided page. So thank you so much for joining me and hanging out. I really appreciate you, and I hope that you have a fabulous week ahead, and I've got a very busy week ahead of me. But hopefully the weekend is kind and we all get to have a good rest and get as much colouring done as we possibly can. So until next Monday, everyone, take care and I will see you soon. Happy colouring. Bye for now.